Hello, Mark Crossfield here. Today we're going to have a chat about the long irons. Got a lot of questions coming at me at the moment about how to use your long irons correctly. Let's have a talk about them and see how difficult or easy a long iron can be. So long irons, guys, we've got a 3 iron and a 4 iron here. So we're talking about the bigger, longer, lesser lofted irons, the harder irons to hit. Now a couple of points with the long irons to get us started. You don't have to be hitting these. There are replacements for these. There are hybrids. If you are someone who really struggles with a 3 iron or 4 iron from the ground, and you don't see a point for it in your bag, then that is great, that is fine, go with that. There's lots of tour players out there who don't carry 3 irons nowadays. They use the rescues or the hybrids instead, so the kind of combinations of the wood or the irons, so that is fine and a good thing. But for those of you who want to use your long irons, or you enjoy using them but you have a few problems, let's talk about some fundamentals with a long iron. So not much loft on a long iron, longer shafts, so we're going to have a go with, let's start with a 4 iron. Not much loft's going to equate to a better ball position to try and encourage the ball up in the air. That means putting the ball a little bit more forward in your stance. So for me, if I'm hitting a 4 iron, I'll literally play it just inside my heel. Depending on the strength of golfer you are, you might be able to move that an inch further back than that position, but you certainly want it in the front portion of your setup. You want to be hitting the ball on the flat to the upswing. You can't really be compressing a 4 iron into the ground too much, or a 3 iron, because you're going to struggle to get the lift unless you're super powerful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ball forward in my stance, so just inside my left heel, hands opposite the inside of my left leg like I do with all my irons, and then as I hit my shot, I'm going to feel in my head that my swing is actually the same as any other club. Now the swing will actually be a slightly flatter plane because the angle of the shaft starts at a flatter plane. But I'm not doing that, the angle of the shaft is doing that. So in my head I'm using the same plane as I would with any other club. It's that forward ball position that's going to help me get a bit of launch. Now when I'm hitting a 4 iron off the deck, I'm accepting that there can be problems. I'm accepting that the ball's not going to particularly go the highest flight out there. So I need to really be understanding my position on the course, what's happening, if there's wind, no wind, if I've got to go over things, do I want the ball to land, do I want it to run. I know a 4 iron into a green, I can get it to stop, but there's a good chance if it lands short, it's going to have a decent amount of roll on it. So I'm going to have to work these factors into my shot, where I know if I hit my rescue, I can land it on the green and get it to stop with ease. I can get it stopping over bunkers because of the launch I get with it. So I'm going to be assessing my shot to see if this is the right club. If I think it is, ball position forward in my stance. Swing plane to me is going to feel very much the same. I'm going to do all the same thoughts I'm doing with every other club, and I'm going to give it a whack. Now I also know with a 4 iron, similar to hitting a 3 wood off the deck, is I can't muck around. I've got to be quite committed with it. I've got to make a good weight shift. I've got to try and get some force on it. If I want to get this low lofted iron struck airborne from the ground, I have to give it a certain amount of wallop. It's not like a 7 iron or a 8 iron which I can hit kind of 3/4. 4 iron, or let's have a go with a 3 iron, it's the same position for me for the 3 iron. Ball position. I'm not putting it any further forward as the 4 iron. They're both in the same. But again, I'm going to have to commit to this. I can't really hit a soft 3 iron that easily. I do have to give a bit of wallop. Otherwise, it just doesn't lift. Let's give the 3 iron a go. Now, I love the flight with a 3 iron, and it works on lots of the courses I play on where it's windy, where the rescue doesn't. Much more penetrating flight. I can get the ball chasing up bare kind of linksy fairway, so it's a great club for me. Sounds silly as well, but I'll carry a 3 iron knowing that if I want to get the ball moving under trees but quite a long way, this is going to do it, where the rescue's just going to launch it up into the branches. So I'm going to use it to get me out of trouble as well. But for playing a 3 iron or 4 iron, if you're not natural with these clubs, if you're fighting them, certainly think about getting a rescue. It'll make a big difference to your game. Ball position forward, you want to be getting it on the level to the upswing to get a bit of launch. You've got to have a bit of commitment in your strikes. You can't just hit a half round, you have to commit. And like I've said before, if you're hitting a club harder, often it becomes more difficult to control. So the rescue, you'll be able to generate the same distance of these irons and not feel like you have to commit so much to it, so you might gain a bit more control. So basic tips with long irons. You shouldn't really try and treat them that differently to your mid irons. You just want to edge that ball position slightly forward. but you do want to accept that maybe that the consequences of a bad shot with these clubs will be greater. So it's weighing that up. So it's lots more to do with your pre-shot changes, ball position, assessing that it is the right club to play, than it is actually the physical shot. The only change I would advise you to make on a 3 or 4 iron is to commit to them from the ground. Make a good swing, good follow through, get your weight into it, try and get some airborne with them, get the ball up in the air. But I hope that helps. Let me know. Let me know if you're a long iron player or a rescue player. I'd be interested to know. Thanks for all your questions, and we'll see you in the next video.